let's talk a little bit about combining hives. So sometimes if there's only a couple frames worth of bees, it's better just to shake those bees out and store the equipment and not bother combining hives. But if you've got 2 hives in October that each are maybe 3 or 4 frames of bees, and they could make a combined, 6, 7, 8 frames of bees, you can try combining them. Couple prerequisites. You want to make sure you don't have too high of a mite load. So if you've got high mites, you want to get those treated and under control before combining it with another hive that may not have high mites. If both hives have high mites, then combine them and then treat them. You don't have to get them done beforehand. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I just carried this hive from another location to right here so I could show you how to combine right next to each other. So catching my breath here. So this is a good candidate. This hive has brood. They've got a good laying queen, but they're only about four frames of bees, which is kind of too small to really survive the winter at this point. Because remember, once you get into fall, bees typically aren't going to grow just a whole lot. They might maintain, but they're not going to grow. And if you've got a hive that's 4 frames of bees, they're probably not going to make it. But they've got a good laying queen. And we've got this hive over here that has, and by the way, this is a single, so it doesn't have a second box. This hive has a lot of bees up in this medium box, as you can see, but not a lot of bees in the bottom box. They've got maybe 2 frames of bees in the bottom box. So let's see if they've got any brood down here first of all. And I'm betting that they don't, but let's check it out and see. So completely empty frame, nothing going on in there. Got some bees. Oh, I do have a frame of brood. Look at that. So I've got a good frame of brood actually. So I've got a good frame of brood right there. I'm going to set that aside. And I've got a second frame of brood. So 2 good frames of brood. And let's see if this third one has any. No brood, but some really good pollen. So unfortunately, what I would like to do is combine all the frames of brood and pollen from this box into this box and then put the medium on. But all the frames are pretty packed in this bottom box with good honey, brood, and pollen. And so I can't quite fit it all into one box. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put all the boxes together. So I've got my frames of brood up in this top box. Now, most of the activity in this hive is in the medium box. That's where most of the brood is and most of the bee population. So I'm going to place it directly on top, like that. And then I'm going to take this box, this deep box that is mostly empty but just has a couple frames of brood, and I'm going to put it on the very top, just like that. Now what's going to happen is, because there's very little honey up in this top box, they will let that brood hatch out of those top frames. And then about a month from now, I'll come back and I'll pull this top box off completely and leave this hive as a deep and a medium. Because that brood will hatch out up here. The bees probably won't lay, the queen probably won't lay any more brood up here. And then I'll just be able to pull this off as an empty box. But leaving it on here for another month and letting that brood hatch out isn't going to hurt anything. Now, sometimes when you're combining hives, it's a good idea to kill one of the queens. And so what I always do is I always pick whichever hive is weakest, and I kill that queen in case, theoretically she's the weaker queen, and then combine the hives together. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I don't even kill one of the queens. With hives like this, where they're largely equivalent in strength, I'll put them together and I'll let the queens fight it out. Most of the time, one of the queens wins and you're all good. But it's slightly preferable to kill the queen in the weaker hive. A lot of people also put newspaper between the hives so they don't fight as much. They'll chew through the newspaper and kind of get used to each other as they're chewing through the newspaper. It's not a bad idea, but honestly, it's kind of a waste of time. I mean, you know, you might have 50 bees fight and kill each other when you just stick them together like this, which is an irrelevant number. And that's about it. You're not going to have hundreds or thousands of bees fighting it out and killing each other. You'll have, you know, maybe 50 bees. And so the newspaper method, again, if you want to be 100% ideal and perfect, not a terrible idea. It'll slightly reduce the chance that the worker bees will kill the queen that's left. So it's not a bad idea in that regard. But most of the time, we just stick them together and everything works out just fine. So that's how you combine a hive. Like I said, we'll come back in a month, we'll pull this top box off, and then we'll just be left with a deep and a medium to overwinter.